by far, but there will be no cuts to Social Security, Medicare, or Medicaid. In fact, they will be saved from the incompetence of the Democrats who have totally lost their confidence in their way with their anti-American tariffs that they would use against us. This would mean the economic ruination of the United States of America. To turn our country around after 4 disastrous years under Joe Biden, we will take a massive step, and Americans will get to keep more of their money with the largest tax cut ever.
The Trump administration is confused. FEMA officials don't even know it's hurricane season, and global alliances are leaving the U.S. behind. How did we get here, and can the damage be reversed? Let's explore the chaos and solutions. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. Trump is on a social media spree. But instead of leadership, it's chaos. What's going on? Lately, his posts have been hitting like a chaotic stream of consciousness rather than any form of coherent messaging. One moment he's lamenting about so-called economic ruin, and the next, he's hurling insults at reporters for asking fact-based questions. Oh, and let's not forget the tirade about tariffs. According to him, they're the enemy destroying everything. But wait, didn't he once call tariffs his magic wand for bringing America wealth? If you're confused, join the club. The contradictions don't stop there. In one post, he warns that high tariffs are strangling the economy and hurting families, while in another, he insists these same tariffs are part of his genius plan saving the country. Critics haven't missed a beat on this, pointing out the obvious: you can't have it both ways.
Congratulations to my friend Kid Rock, I call him Bob, on the grand opening of his new Nashville restaurant, the Detroit Cowboy, are saying whatever comes to mind, anything to win, or this one, passing the one big beautiful bill is a historic opportunity. No, Donald, you are cutting Medicaid, you are attacking Medicare, you are taking away people's food stamps, their supplemental nutrition assistance programs, to balancing our budget by enacting the largest mandatory spending cut ever.
Either tariffs are working as intended, or they're spelling disaster. Even some of his longtime supporters are scratching their heads. One conservative columnist summed it up with, "If these are signs of strategic genius, then maybe my cat's the next Einstein." Now, where things spiral even more is his incessant bragging about a one big beautiful bill he's been pushing. Sounds good, right? A plan to fix government spending while helping everyday Americans. What could go wrong? Well, a lot. Turns out this so-called beautiful bill doesn't prioritize practical spending cuts. Instead, it guts Medicaid, slashes food assistance programs, and leaves vulnerable families dangling by a thread. The cherry on top? When asked about the people impacted by these cuts, his response boiled down to, "They'll be fine. They'll figure it out." Out of touch much? This is the same man who probably thinks a gallon of milk costs $500. And it's not just Democrats or economists raising their eyebrows. Even some of Trump's closest allies are whispering concerns over the stability of his messaging. Long Twitter rants about the fake news media and his economic bromance with himself are no longer just a quirk, they're a pattern. A growing number of political insiders are noting how erratic these posts have become. One longtime GOP strategist likened his timeline to a senior-level work meeting that's suddenly interrupted by someone yelling conspiracy theories through a bullhorn. Harsh, but hard to argue when the posts themselves are riddled with spelling errors and caps lock shouting. So, why does any of this matter? Rants are one thing, but leaders' words actually do carry weight. Allies around the world are watching these outbursts, and many are starting to take a step back from the U.S. While Trump assures his followers that he's holding America strong, the ripples of his erratic behavior affect more than just social media algorithms. One European trade official reportedly said, "We don't bother negotiating with sound bites. We need leadership." Ouch. And let's talk about the economy he claims to be single-handedly saving. Behind the scenes, experts are warning about major slowdowns in key industries. Manufacturing is dipping, retail is struggling, and international trade? Let's just say no one's lining up to send goods to a country whose policies change by the time the next tweet gets posted. Some American businesses have even started scaling back investments, citing uncertainty in leadership as a key factor. And when CEOs are turning to Reddit forums for advice rather than watching the president's press conferences, that's a bad sign. So what can all this tell us about Trump's infamous meltdowns? It's not just about throwing tantrums on social media. It's a symptom of something much bigger, a fundamental disconnect from the realities of governance. When you oversimplify problems, like calling a 100-page trade deal bad without reading it, or outright mock reporters for legitimate questions, you erode credibility both at home and on the global stage. But these social media meltdowns are just the tip of the iceberg. The consequences are much bigger than a few angry tweets. From global alliances to hurricane preparedness, Trump's actions are creating ripples, and not in a good way. Let's start with the world stage. America, once the ringleader of global politics, is now finding itself sidelined like a middle schooler no one wants on their dodgeball team. Countries are moving elsewhere, building tight-knit trade agreements and partnerships that deliberately leave the US out. It's like a group chat where they've muted Trump. And why? Because predictability is key in diplomacy, and no one can pin down what Trump's going to do next. One minute, he's denouncing foreign leaders as enemies, and the next, he's calling them great guys in a half-baked Twitter post. The rest of the world has been quick to notice this, or maybe they saw the all-caps tweets and decided quietly to walk away, keys jingling in their diplomatic hands. But the drama isn't just international. It's wreaking havoc right at home, where real everyday effects are stacking up. U.S. stocks are flailing in comparison to their international counterparts, with the largest gap in 32 years. That's not a little blip, it's a red flag. Investors are pulling back because, frankly, when you've got an unpredictable leader who keeps ranting about tariffs and trade wars, confidence in the market isn't exactly booming. Americans who might not watch the stock market daily will feel it indirectly. Job creation slows down, wages don't rise, and those 401ks, who knows what they're worth anymore? Meanwhile, manufacturing, once touted by Trump as part of his big economic revival, is slipping harder than he does on the truth. Shipping activity between the US and China has fallen significantly. And no, this isn't because China suddenly lost its GPS and forgot where America is. This reflects a broader issue. The manufacturing boom that was once hyped has become a slump, with imports plunging to the lowest level since the financial crisis. Factories that were supposed to roar back to life are now inching toward quiet layoffs. Forget winning, this isn't even staying in the game. And while the markets are wobbling, international travelers are also saying, thanks, but no thanks, to visiting the US. Tourism is taking a hit because, let's be honest, America's no longer the friendly, inviting destination it used to be. A Canadian truck driver summed it up pretty well. I can't change the politics, but I can change where I spend my money. That statement carries weight, and it's echoed by businesses across the board. When fewer people book hotel rooms or eat at local restaurants, that ripples through the economy fast. Fewer jobs, less revenue, it all adds up. And yes, if you thought Trump's inability to stay consistent with global treaties couldn't make things worse, think again. His good old flip-flop on the Iran nuclear deal has taken everyone for a loop. Just recently, he insisted in a post that he'd never allow Iran to enrich uranium, but apparently forgot to send a memo to the Iranians, who responded by basically saying they had no idea what Trump was ranting about. Here's the problem. When foreign policy is handled like a poorly planned improv skit, it doesn't just confuse adversaries, it alienates allies too. And right now, the US's reliability on the world stage seems about as solid as one of Trump's lawsuits holding up in court. But let's not just stick to global politics and economics. Look at domestic governance, which seems to be crumbling under Trump's watch. FEMA, The disaster management agency responsible for helping Americans in crisis recently found itself in an embarrassing spotlight. Apparently, according to reports, the head of FEMA wasn't even aware the U.S. has a hurricane season. Let that sink in. Hundreds of hurricanes have swept through the states in living memory, devastating homes and lives, and the guy in charge of managing disasters didn't know about hurricane season. It's not just tone-deaf, it's downright dangerous. Imagine trusting a weather novice with your household umbrella. They'd probably hand it to you upside down. Still, Trump himself seems unfazed, doubling down on tariffs and taking credit for policies that are visibly backfiring. His tariffs against nearly every major trading partner have contributed to this manufacturing slump, along with general uncertainty about the White House's competence. The ISM manufacturing data shows imports have hit near-crisis levels. But Trump's busy pointing fingers, everyone else, of course, is at fault. It's like watching someone crash their car and then blame the asphalt. What's most alarming isn't just the missteps, but the pattern they reveal. It's not one tweet, one policy, or one blunder. It's a repeating storyline of chaos, instability, and a refusal to take responsibility. These aren't issues that will quietly resolve themselves. They're signs of a system straining against leadership that thrives on disorder. Trump's reign is less of a carefully managed operation and more like a soap opera where every new episode adds another twist. So, what's the solution? How do we cut through the chaos and find clarity in this mess? Trump's meltdowns aren't just giving late-night comedians endless material. They're highlighting deeper cracks in both leadership and policy. These aren't harmless rants. From tanking global alliances to spooking investors at home, the fallout is real. His chaotic contradictions on tariffs and shaky foreign policy signal more than confusion. They show a lack of stable management. Countries now doubt the U.S., and even his supporters are questioning the messaging. The solution? Stay sharp. Double-check the facts, don't fall for the noise, and demand better leadership. The patterns are clear, and the stakes are high. Recognizing them could make all the difference.